Despite his towering height, Barron Trump has done a pretty good job of flying under the radar in his first year at New York University.
Have you ever wondered what it's really like to be a college freshman when your last name is Trump? Most students struggle with cramped dorms and late-night study sessions, but Barron Trump's experience is on another level. From lavish penthouse living to presidential-level security, his college life is anything but ordinary. To get started, college life is supposed to be a time of independence, late-night study sessions, and figuring things out on your own. Barron Trump, on the other hand, has a very different view of the world. He is not eating dorm food or using shared bathrooms because he lives in a multi-million-dollar apartment with the Secret Service all around him, and in complete comfort. Barron is already at home, but most of the freshmen are still getting used to their new settings. To be honest, though, his choice to live with Melania at Trump Tower instead of on campus has raised some questions. Your childhood bedroom with gold-plated furniture and security guards around the clock just can't compare to a college room. But this is where it gets much more interesting. Barron is a Trump. He's not just another student at NYU. That means a lot of safety, constant media attention, and a learning experience like no other. Imagine going to get coffee on campus while being followed by the whole Secret Service. It does sound strong, just like you said. Barron's daily routine is just like that. This isn't just about money. It's also about power, wealth, and the great lengths that were taken to keep Barron's life safe and comfortable. Be sure to check out his college life. It's really interesting. Barron Trump can go to any of the best colleges in the world. Harvard? It's too traditional. Stanford? Way too far. Georgetown has a lot of politics. But when it was time to make a choice, he went to NYU's Stern School of Business. This made people talk. Let's break it down. NYU is one of the most prestigious business schools in the world. It's where Wall Street bigwigs and future CEOs start their careers. It's not just a school. It's a launchpad for the very wealthy. Barron liked Stern better? That has more to do with than just school. That has to do with keeping the Trump name linked to economic power. Then there's location, location, location. New York has always been home to the Trump family. There's Trump Tower, the real estate business, the shine and the power. Barron pretty much grew up in a building, so why would he want to move into a college flat? This is more than just a degree. Being close to the Trump family and everything that matters is what it's all about. But this is where the story gets interesting. The Trump family didn't know about Barron's college choice until right before. Most popular kids say what they want to do months ahead of time. Think about it. Everyone knew that Sasha Obama was going to go to the University of Michigan. When Malia started at Harvard, it made the news. But still, Barron, not at all. Be quiet. And all of a sudden, bam. In an interview with the Daily Mail in early September 2024, Donald Trump tells them the news in a relaxed way. It's just like that when the internet breaks. And after that, the pictures began. Barron was seen on the campus of the university. The Secret Service is outside of his classes. Hidden pictures in pupils. One day, NYU will be just another well-known school. After that, there is a security detail at the presidential level moving through the halls. People kept talking about it non-stop. A few of the kids were starstruck. Some people were just interested. But there was one thing that was certain. Barron Trump would not have a normal college experience. And that's before we even talk about where he actually lives. As you may have guessed, he doesn't live in a room. The college rooms are usually small, the roommates aren't always nice, and the twin-sized bed feels like sleeping on a rock. Barack Obama? Not really, in fact. Barron's room is an apartment worth $100 million, while other students are sharing spaces with desks and a small fridge. And Trump Tower isn't just any tower. Think about waking up in an apartment with a view of the whole city of New York that is spread out over several floors and has marble floors and gold-plated furniture. There aren't any loud halls or bad smells coming from the shared kitchen, and no one ever fights about when to take a shower. While his friends get used to living in a flat, Barron is enjoying breakfast in a living room fit for a king. Also, things get a lot stranger. Most NYU students live in small flats with shared bathrooms. Some people have to wait in queue just to use the bathroom. There are people who live their whole lives in a closet-sized place and are triple occupiers. Not Barron yet. He has a whole floor to himself. There are more than one bedroom, a closed lift that only people can use, his own group of guards. The chandeliers are important not to miss. They probably cost more than a semester's worth of fees. There's also the matter of food. Most freshmen hope that today's surprise meet won't make them sick since they usually eat in the dining hall. It helps that they bring pizza late at night and sell instant ramen. Barron, though, he doesn't need a meal plan. When you live in Trump Tower, you don't have to wait in line for food from the restaurant. You have your own personal chef. That means he can have steak for dinner, fancy meals, and anything else he wants whenever he wants it. Not even cold pizza. That isn't microwavable food. Only 5-star meals in the comfort of his own apartment. Also, let's talk about transportation. Most students are either trying to save money on Uber rides or running to get to the train on time. Barron? He has private drivers ready to go at all times. None of those crowded cars. I try to stay away from rush hour. Just get into a black SUV and you'll be taken straight to class. But things start to look weird here. College should be a time to make friends, hang out, and learn how to be independent. Even though it can be crazy, dorm life is also where bonds form. Talking late at night, going to the movies, and ordering takeaway at 2 a.m. are all normal parts of life. Hey, Barron, may I? He doesn't miss any of that. Instead of meeting new people in a dorm's common area, he's going home to an apartment. He is only going past the security guards to get inside. He's not randomly running into peers in the hallway. His life is calm. It's a sign of wealth and distance at the same time. It is clear that NYU students have seen this. Some people like it a lot. Some people think it's way too much. But one thing is for sure, Barron Trump is getting a college education like no one else. Even though living in an apartment is crazy, that's not even the stranger thing about his college life. Barron is followed everywhere by the Secret Service. But most of the students are worried about safety on campus. And that changes everything. A lot of first years worry about forgetting their room key or being late for class. Is this Barron Trump? He is afraid that a whole security team is watching everything he does. This isn't a normal situation for school security, where a few guards walk around and keep things under control. The Secret Service is running this whole thing. Barron doesn't even have to go into a classroom before agents are already there. Their job is to make sure that no one or anything gets too close. That's not all either. Any student who wants to go to class with Barron must show ID before they can enter. Not having ID? Not going in. Don't slip up late. Not hiding behind a mask. There aren't just teachers coming in ready to teach. They wait until the security staff gives them the all clear. This level of protection is set up for important people like presidents. But for Barron, it's just another day at school. You might be thinking how he gets around campus. It's not like most students do it. Most first years at NYU take the train, walk, or call an Uber. Does Barron ask? A whole convoy is around him to protect him. A black SUV is parked nearby and ready to take him wherever he needs to go. Taking a walk around campus? There isn't much of a choice there either. Unlike the other students, spies are watching over him to make sure no one gets too close. That's when things start to get tricky. College is supposed to teach you how to be free, independent, and solve problems on your own. But is that even possible when there are security guards watching everything you do? Some NYU students like to hang out in the park, the library, or over coffee breaks. Hey Barron, may I? He can't do any of it without a security check. There's no doubt that the students around him are aware. Some people think it's cool that the Secret Service is on campus. Some people think it's pretty embarrassing. No matter what, one thing is for sure. There are a lot of extra rules when you go to school with a Trump. Even the protection at the university had to change. The Secret Service is not at all like university security, even though NYU has its own security team. Campus security is in charge of small problems like students breaking into buildings and ID cards going missing. They live on a whole other level than the Secret Service. It's not just about keeping Barron safe. It's also about making sure nothing happens that could make headlines around the world. That's what makes things tough. Barron is not like other college students, even though he is one now. Everything he does is planned, supervised, and under control. This brings up a big question. Can he even live a normal college life? And if you think the Secret Service is the only one watching over Barron, think again. Because there's one more person who's just as protective and just as involved. Her name? Melania Trump. Most parents drop their kids off at college, help them move into their dorm and say goodbye. Melania Trump? She moved back to New York with him. That's right. Instead of staying in Florida, Melania packed up and returned to Trump Tower, just in time for Barron's first semester. And honestly, it's not surprising at all. For years, Melania has been the one constant in Barron's life. Even when Donald Trump moved into the White House, she stayed in New York so Barron could finish school where he was comfortable. So when rumors started that she might follow him to college, no one doubted it. And now that she's back in NYC, she's making it clear she's happy to be home. Just before Barron started classes, she posted on X, formerly Twitter, talking about how New York captivated her heart from the moment she arrived. A sweet memory? Or a message that she's exactly where she wants to be, right next to Barron? Because let's be real, Melania isn't just back in New York. She's involved. Melania has always been extremely protective of Barron. Every major decision about his life, his education, his future, it all goes through her. Is it about safety? Maybe. Is it about control? Possibly. But one thing's for sure, Barron doesn't have the same freedom as other college students. Most freshmen are learning how to live on their own. Barron? He still has his mom living just a few floors away. She's not just watching from a distance, she's actively making sure his life stays on track. But here's where it gets tricky. College is supposed to be a time where students make their own decisions, gain independence, and figure out who they are. But when you have Melania Trump managing every detail of your life, how much of that freedom actually exists? Every step Barron takes, every move he makes, it's all carefully planned. And that's not an accident. Because when it comes to the Trump family, nothing is ever left to chance. And that brings us to something even bigger, how the Trump name affects Barron's entire college experience. Because let's face it, being a Trump means there's a lot of baggage that comes with the name. Barron Trump isn't just another freshman walking into NYU. His last name alone makes sure of that. For some students, he's an intriguing mystery. It's not every day you sit next to a former president's son in class. For others, it's awkward. The Trump name brings strong opinions, and not all of them are friendly. And here's the thing. NYU is a school that thrives on political discussions. Professors and students don't hold back their opinions, and the Trump name isn't exactly neutral territory. So how does that affect Barron? Imagine walking into class knowing people already have an opinion about you before you even speak. Some professors might treat him like any other student. Others? They might not be able to separate him from his father's politics. Some students might be secretly hoping for an argument, a debate, or even a headline-worthy reaction. But Barron isn't giving them one. He's staying quiet, keeping his head down, and not engaging in political discussions. That might help him avoid controversy, but it doesn't erase the reality of who he is. Professors at NYU are some of the best in the world. They're used to teaching high-profile students, celebrities, and even royalty. But having a Trump in the classroom? That's a whole new dynamic. Most students can disagree with their professor, argue their point, and move on. But when Barron speaks, does his last name change the way professors respond? Some might try to be extra neutral. Others might feel the urge to challenge him more. The Trump name can turn any conversation into a debate, even when Barron isn't trying to start one. And then there's the social side of things. Most freshmen meet their best friends in their dorm, at parties, or through campus clubs. But Barron isn't living the normal college experience. He's not in a dorm. He doesn't hang out in common areas. He has security watching his every move. That makes casual friendships almost impossible. Some students might be too intimidated to approach him. Others might be overly friendly just because of his last name. Either way, can he ever really trust that people like him for who he is, not because of his family? And what about dating? Most students go on awkward first dates, make mistakes, and figure it out along the way. But for Barron, there's no room for casual relationships. Everything he does could turn into a headline. His last name doesn't just follow him, it defines how people see him. And that's where things get even more complicated. Because NYU's reputation and the Trump brand couldn't be more different. NYU has a reputation for being one of the most liberal, progressive, and politically active universities in the country. The student body is known for its diversity, activism, and willingness to challenge authority. At any given time, protests and political discussions fill the campus. The Trump brand, on the other hand, represents a completely different world. The family is business-driven, conservative, and highly controversial. For years, NYU students have protested against Trump's policies, his presidency, and everything his name represents. Some students have openly opposed Trump-owned properties in New York, and some professors have built entire lectures around criticizing his administration. So where does Barron fit into all of this? On paper, it seems like a contradiction. The son of one of the most divisive figures in modern American politics, attending one of the most politically outspoken universities, it's the kind of thing that practically guarantees attention. Some students see his presence on campus as a strange clash of ideologies, while others wonder if he even cares about the political tensions surrounding his name. But the reality? Barron isn't his father. For years, NYU has been a hotbed of political activism. Students here don't just talk about issues, they take action. They march, they protest, and they push for social change. The university's culture is built on challenging authority, questioning leaders, and fighting for progress. The Trump family, in contrast, represents a legacy of wealth, power, and resistance to those very changes. Donald Trump's presidency was marked by policies that many NYU students actively opposed. Whether it was immigration laws, environmental policies, or social justice issues, the Trump administration stood on the opposite side of many of the values NYU students hold. Barron walking onto campus doesn't erase that tension. For some students, it feels like an invasion of their space. They've spent years protesting against the Trump name, and now one of its most private members is attending their school. Does that make him an outsider? Not necessarily. Unlike his father, Barron is not known for making bold statements or engaging in public political debates. He doesn't have an active social media presence, he doesn't go on Twitter rants, and he isn't interested in making headlines. He is, by all accounts, a private person. This low-profile approach may actually be his smartest move. By staying quiet, he avoids direct conflict. He's not making speeches, he's not defending his father's policies, and he's not trying to change people's minds. He's just another student, at least on the surface. But that doesn't mean people aren't watching him closely. For some students, he's just another wealthy kid in a school filled with them. NYU has no shortage of students from ultra-rich families, and Barron isn't the only one with a high-profile last name. Some classmates may see him as nothing more than another privileged business student. For others, though, it's impossible to separate Barron from his last name. No matter how private he tries to be, the Trump name is larger than life. Professors, classmates, and even strangers on campus have already made assumptions about him before he ever speaks a word. He may not be involved in politics, but that doesn't mean his presence isn't political. For now, he's just a college student. But with the Trump name behind him, he'll never really be just anything. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Hit the bell icon to stay updated and click on the next video popping up on your screen. See you next time.